Shubhalaxmi, the Moth Lady of India, and Isaac Kehimkar, the Butterfly Man of India. I don't think they need any introduction to most people. I've known them both while they were in BNHS, and now both of them are working as independent conservationists after giving their tremendous contribution in Bombay Natural History Society for many, many years. So today I would like to talk to them about what they have been up to after they retired from Bombay Natural History Society. So you can start, both of you. You can decide who will start.
Isaac
can start. He got retired.
Yeah, I got retired, but she left before. So actually, she actually retired and made a landing ground for me. So I think she can start first because it's her initiative that actually brought us where we are now. So she she made the landing stage for us, for me especially after retirement, after BNH is what. So I didn't have to worry because the moment I retired, next day I was in her office, So that was very nice. So it was her effort because she had resigned from the job of deputy director when she was BNHS because she wanted to grow. So that is, let's hear from her first why she left BNHS.
No, I think not why I left BNHS, but I think I wanted to get into the domain of CSR, and it was just starting in India, and I wanted to be part of it. So I felt that I should leave whatever I'm doing because I'll not enter that business sector, because working for BNHS for such a long time, so I had this thorough experience of NGO sector, and I wanted to experience what is it like a business, to be like a businesswoman. So that, or like entrepreneur, how to be like, what is the feeling of being an entrepreneur? So I just took a plunge, and I would say I was lucky that I was in a very safe position to take that plunge. It is difficult for others to do so, to just dump one job and get into, or just being jobless the very next day. So I started with Ladybird Environmental Consulting, and because I'm an entomologist, so I wanted the name of my company to resonate with an insect. So therefore the Ladybird name was used. So I started with Ladybird primarily just to work in the sphere of CSR. And eventually I started with a non-profit also, because for CSR, there was a requirement of an NGO. And I used to constantly work with other NGOs where I lost some of my money also. I used to do all the legwork and the hard work. Well, the NGOs were just getting benefit of it. So I realized that it's time that I start my own NGO. So 2 years later, I started I Nature Watch Foundation, which was again a continuation of a project that I was working on when I left BNHS. So we both are Fulbright fellows. We're alumni of Fulbright fellows. So being a fellow, exchange fellow of United States, there is a competition, grant competition. So I participated in the grant competition and I won a prize, a grant money, sole winner from India. And through that grant, I developed mobile apps for nature study, like 3 mobile apps I developed. And that time, this term, I Nature Watch, was coined for the project. And once the project was over, I felt that I should not leave that and continue it. So eventually I converted into a non-profit. So that's how, I had a company and then I had a NGO. And when Isaac retired, so I said he can join that. So he heads the I Nature Watch Foundation, where I had the Ladybird Environmental Consulting. And then subsequently, when my book came out, there was a need of a publishing house also. I was very clear not to give to anybody else to publish my book. I felt that we are capable of designing as well as selling our own book, like making your own cake and having it too. So that's where Birdwing Publisher was born. So all these 3 entities were just born in a span of 2 years. So total, yes. Now I think I'm 9 years since I left BNHS, and no regrets.
And she's on the committee of the BNHS now.
Okay, great. So you have
Yeah.
3 entities now. One is called
Yes.
Ladybird Consulting, that is the company. Then the NGO, which is called I Nature Watch Foundation, and
Yeah.
a publishing house. Okay.
Yes.
And you are also on the board of directors of BNHS.
Yes, governing council.
So
He was also there.
governing council.
Yeah.
After him, I stood for the election and got elected.
Okay. So now tell me, what all have you been doing after you left BNHS?
Now you can say something.
In a sense, as I said, the Shubha had already launched this, the NGO and the Ladybird, and there was a lot of work already going on. So my coming was like, it was just a change of place. Like, I was working with BNH, and suddenly next day I retired from the BNH, and next day I was in her office with I Nature Watch Foundation working as a chairman. And it was like something, only thing what we decided that we'll not do something which we have been doing with BNHS, or we'll not compete with BNHS, because that is our alma mater. So we have to respect BNHS. But we continued our projects which were different, not competing with BNHS. And we were lucky that we kept on getting projects and people trusting us with our track record. So that was a great happening. And then I was busy with my books also. And during that time, I wrote a book for, there's an Indo-German project. So on the biodiversity of Maharashtra, coastal biodiversity. So I got offered during that time, and I was busy writing. And now also I'm writing a book on butterflies of India. That will be my 3rd book on butterflies of India.
I thought you had already published a book.
Yeah.
Butterflies of India, right? BNHS?
Yeah, BNHS. I wrote 2 books for BNHS. One book earlier I had written for WWF also, Worldwide Fund for Nature. That was a very small booklet with Thomas Gay. But with BNHS, I published 2 main books, which are bestsellers. They were bestsellers, and they brought a lot of funds to BNHS. But now I'm writing a book which will be published by the Birdwing Publishers, our own publishing house.
So when we started with, sorry, I said when we started with Ladybird, when I started with Ladybird, and as Isaac rightly mentioned, I was very clear. Like I was heading BNHS education centers, and I decided that is something I'm not going to continue. The reason I left BNHS was to do something different. So there was no point in doing the same thing. So when I started with when I decided to work in CSR, so plantation was a first activity which comes to anybody's mind, because that is like a standard practice for any corporate to get engaged with environment, means plantation kar do. So then I decided that what is that we will do differently. Everybody is doing plantation. And for that matter, I had no experience of plantation, because in BNHS, we were not doing plantation. So I had no experience about it. So, but I said that we can bring we are biodiversity specialists. We call ourselves, so I may be an entomologist and he's into butterflies. So we could be like more entomologists, but we call ourselves as a biodiversity specialist, because we cover many other topics besides insects, which is our passion. So we decided that why not tweak this entire concept of plantation into biodiversity plantation. And since we both had a track record in insect world, especially butterflies, so it was very easy to sell the idea of doing plantation for butterflies. So my concept of developing butterfly habitats, butterfly gardens, butterfly parks actually started from there. And I started actually selling this idea to the corporate clients, and they seem to like the idea, because butterfly has such a wonderful appeal to the word itself. And I think before us, nobody was offering plantation for butterflies. So it was very unique offering that we were doing. And we were very specifically telling to our clients, look, we will be not exclusively planting trees, because that's what tree plantation is all about. Is like planting fruit trees or shade giving trees or medicinal trees. That kind of practice was going on in the industry. And we said that we are going to create habitats wherein you need to have all 3 brothers of the plant kingdom. You need to have the big brother, the tree, you have the Majla Bhai's shrub, and the younger brother, herb, shrubs, trees. This entire family unit we need to bring in. And we were very lucky till by grace of God, I would say we were lucky even till today. We have opportunity of working with wonderful clients, wonderful corporate clients who actually believed in what we offered to them. Nobody told me, no, you don't have to. Yes, they said, no, you just do tree cutting and get your butterflies. Nobody actually insisted that way. So this was a very good, I think I would say we have been lucky that way. Our clients don't dictate terms for us at what we should be doing. We are the ones who keep telling them this is a requirement. There's a need in the society. There's a need in the environment. And our interventions will fulfill. And this is a solution that we are offering. So this is what clicked actually. And it is now 9 years. And 9 years is really long time for an idea, to milk an idea for such a long time. So when the pandemic actually came in, that is the time I already decided that we should move away from this butterfly. Enough, matlab starting kiya butterflies. Like today also people remember us for butterflies only. That is there. Oh, ek dimag mein sabke baith gaya. So then we started, let us deviate from butterflies and expand into biodiversity as a whole. And then we realized that eco-restoration is a field where we can actually bring all the skills, all the talent to one project. So that's where we started expanding into eco-restoration really, because finally butterfly or biodiversity plantation has a limitation. It will eventually get saturated at some point of time. And we want to keep on going on and on.
How many butterfly gardens did you manage developing?
So total, we have developed 29 butterfly zones, I call them.
So in and around Bombay?
Butterfly gardens in nearly 10 states.
10 states.
We have created 29 butterfly gardens in 10 states with 9 butterfly habitats. And I think there's a large number of butterfly gardens and butterfly parks. So this categories we only ourselves have come up because depending on the requirement, like say if there are small number of plants which are getting planted, say around 300 saplings or something in a smaller space, like for a school, for an educational institution, or for an NGO or a hospital. So we call it as a butterfly garden. Butterfly habitats are more like a wild spaces. So where you create habitats, you don't actually curate them. There is no curation. There are no, it's just wild. There are no signages, nothing. It's just meant to create a like a pollinator zone. So those we call as a habitats, and they are usually about 1 acre, 2 acre, 4 acres, and the quantities will be about 10,000 plants and so on. So we label them as a butterfly habitats. Now butterfly parks are a mixture of butterfly garden and a butterfly habitat, because scale wise they are as big as a butterfly habitat. And but the curation wise, the way we do curation in butterfly gardens, we need to put up a signage, we need to put up an exhibit, and all other public utility items inside the park. So all that is usually, and where we actually engage a landscape architect. So we started categorizing this different zones of the butterflies. So I call them as a butterfly zone. So we have done this, and we continue to do it because under CSR we started, because corporate's requirement is to plant, but they don't have a land, so they depend on us. So we had to really do one groundwork wherein we identify a land, we identify the owner, the landowner of it. We have a negotiation with the landowner saying that we are going to create an asset for them, which might be useful for them. So it could be forest department, it could be municipal corporation, it could be a big school, or it could be an NGO. So this land, we needed land, and the government was the best partner for that. So we engage government, especially forest department, as a site partner, and they gave us land. We created the habitats, we managed for 3 years, and we handed over to the clients. So this entire groundwork of finding a space, finding a landowner, getting all the things done, and then making a proposal and pitching to a corporate. So for a corporate, it was like a win-win situation. It was all ready-made for them. All they have to do is just give us the money.
Great. Okay. So you managed doing 29 of them. Very good.
Yes, 29.
Then during COVID, what is the other activity you started?
So as I said, I started with the iNature Foundation, right? So COVID was a time when INHOH Foundation started taking CSR projects directly. Before that, Ladybird used to do projects, but via through other NGOs. But as the pandemic came in, that time our NGO was like 3 years old and was qualified to take CSR projects. So we started getting these. I started taking all the CSR projects to INHOH. So Ladybird was like, it was Ladybird who was actually financially viable from the year one. Whereas the INHOH Foundation, it was running into losses from year one, because INHOH Foundation didn't have a unique selling point. We were doing some nature trails, workshops, online courses, that stuff which doesn't really make financially viable. These are all goodwill programs, I call them, but you can't make a revenue out of it. So INHOH didn't have substantial revenue to sustain itself. So Ladybird was the one who was pitching all the expenses, taking care of all the expenses of INHOH. But the moment when all the CSR projects started going to INHOH became this one rich entity, and Ladybird became the poor entity, because all the projects started going to. It was a very tough decision for me. That, because we both, myself and Isaac, we are partners in Ladybird. It's a company, so we can get our salary from it. But INHOH, which is a foundation where we are trustees, we can't take a single penny. It can't go into our pocket. So INHOH was not giving us salary. So we had to do something which can actually give us a salary. So that was Ladybird only, and eventually Birdwing. So these two entities helps us to, that is our, bread and butter, you can say. And INHOH started, when INHOH started getting CSR projects, I think that's when it started really becoming self-sufficient, financially viable, and just, I would say, touchwood, that since pandemic, when people were losing business, people were shutting down offices, or people were losing people, we were the one who were hiring people. We started expanding, actually, from a 5-member team. We expanded.
Sorry for interrupting. You don't take any donations.
No,
it's only CSR funds, right?
It's only CSR. So yes, so this was another thing which I was very clear about, that I will not probably ask for donation. We will not ask for donation. We should make ourselves so sufficient by our own work that we should be able to take care of ourselves. So this is what. So fortunately, because of the CSR project, we were able to sustain the entire pandemic. Not only sustain, we expanded. I was saying from 5-member team, we grew to 18-member team. So that kind of scale actually came in. And not only that, so here we started, when we started making surplus, we started supporting causes. And one of the cause which has been very close to my heart since the pandemic was stray animals. Animal welfare was a new area for me. I started working in animal welfare. So our NGO has a stray eye care initiative, through which we provide free medical and food help for stray animals. So whoever feeders are there, rescuers are there are any cases which need help, so we are able to support those causes out of this. So that is what INHOH today is. And I think we continue to work in CSR, especially in eco-restoration. We are very particular now about working in eco-restoration field, because it's a very diverse and dynamic. And also that this is a UN decade of eco-restoration till 2030. So this 10 years is very crucial for India also, where you undertake more and more barren land and transform them into, green zones. So that's a line we have taken. So that's the reason we have stopped doing all our online courses, walks, and all those activities have been stopped, because we are just so full with our current work that we don't have time. Now what we do, we have incorporated all these things into our project. So we conduct free nature trails now. We conduct free training workshops, because it's a part of the project. We no more charge anyone, because it is all funded. So that's a model we have adopted, of not asking money from someone and trying to raise funds enough to do social good, as well as, keep our NGO up and running. And while iNature started prospering. So Ladybird was left with very limited options what to do. So Ladybird started working into the consultancy space, where we started designing butterfly parks, biodiversity parks. So we actually work with corporates in designing this. So we felt that, okay, this is a very niche work for Ladybird, and also corporate volunteering events. So all the corporate volunteering events where so it is pan India, we conduct these activities nearly, I think before pandemic, we used to conduct in 26 cities. And sometimes parallelly, all these events used to happen. So we used to have clients, and we had really 25 clients for whom we were conducting this environmental volunteering programs. Environmental volunteering programs and this consultancy work, creating butterfly parks, is what now Ladybird completely into it, and also conducting some biodiversity assessment works and all stuff. So we have like a clear demarcation now, who is doing what. And Birdwing Publisher, because it's a publishing house, it has all documentation work, be it field guides, we develop exhibits, we develop signages, we develop books. So all that is, and even mobile apps.
Right.
Can you hear us? Yeah. So this is how our work has got spread out, and this is how all the skill set that we both share is getting, divided into these 3 entities.
So both of you are fully engaged, and you are traveling all over, I suppose? Or are you?
I do most of the traveling.
Managing. Pardon?
I say I do most of the traveling.
You do most of the traveling. Okay. You built a new house in Karjat, right?
But mostly traveling I do. I do the traveling part.
Okay. So this new house, I've been seeing some pictures of your house in Karjat.
Yeah, yes, we'll certainly share. And that after coming, realize that there is a also a need to work with the people who actually live on forest, and that's how Shubha has devised a new project now. That is a chula, actually, for even efficient chula. So you can't tell these Adivasis and people depending on forest to not cut trees and not stop cutting trees, not to go in forest for collecting forest produce. But we have to give them ways that they can coexist, peacefully. So Shubha has now she has done a pilot project on getting efficient chula, so that it consumes less wood, and even the women in the kitchen are comfortable. It's less smoky also. So it's both the win-win. So that's another project which we are working. So we realize that there's so much to be done for environment. It's not just city level, but when you come at this village level, where we have come to here in the forest periphery, we realize, yes, there is what the need is to actually conservation starts here, where people, the pressure of people extracting fire, forests are shrinking. But you can't stop them, because they have to find some alternative. They have to cook their food, they have to live. So it's a very tough situation. But we have to find ways, and we are trying to see what we can do.
This is an activity that we designed for our Ambivali Biodiversity Park. It's basically for visitors who come to the park and come on a nature trail or do bird watching, whatever they're doing. So on the trails, we are going to install such sheets. These are acrylic sheet, and we have come up with themes like flowers, fruits, then insects, then reptiles, even types of leaf shapes, arrangement, so on. So the idea is that whoever is coming, they should start doing some observations wherever this bingo, we call it as a bingo, because you can just tally it, how many you are seeing. So this is about the bark bingo, and we have put up all the different types of barks which are found in this biodiversity park in Ambivali. And then the visitors have to just look at the bark type and just try to match it up, and we'll be also probably providing with a pen, and they have to just like tick mark. Okay, if they have seen the Indian coke tree, so they can tick mark this, or they have seen the people also can tick mark this, or Putranjiva, or the Indian elm. Okay, so if they can mark, and this is how the tally would happen, the bingo. And so the idea is just to have some fun and also to reflect upon some information that they have come across the trail, and this could be easily wiped out. So this is how we have designed. We hope visitors who are going to come to the Ambivali Biodiversity Park will enjoy this. We have designed some 10 themes of bingos. It's like a first time we have designed something like this. We hope people will enjoy playing bingo with nature.